Why are boring people secretly always winning? It sounds strange, almost absurd, doesn't it? Because your mind, accustomed to immediate shine and the speed of spectacle, rejects the idea that someone living in monotony could be one step ahead of you. And yet, there's the trap. While you run desperately after every stimulus, they walk slowly, invisibly, silently, and they surpass you without you noticing. The unsettling part is that you don't see them coming. They're like shadows in the middle of a noisy party. No one pays attention to them, but when the music fades, when the euphoria is over, they are the ones left standing. They don't need applause or recognition. In fact, they prefer that you call them boring, because while you distract yourself chasing excitement, they master the most feared art of all: repetition, consistency, the discipline that wears others down and turns them into masters of themselves. And maybe this gives you chills. The ones who seem the dullest are in reality the ones holding the strongest fire. Because what's truly dangerous isn't the one who shouts the loudest, nor the one who shines under the spotlight, but the one who learns to build in the shadows, repeating the same gesture day after day until becoming indestructible. Do you feel it? That discomfort running through you right now is the reflection of a truth you don't want to accept. You may have been running in circles for years, while the boring ones have been quietly overtaking you. And the worst part isn't that they overtake you. The worst part is that they do it right in front of you, and you still can't see it. Do you know what's truly disturbing? That in a society that worships speed, novelty, and constant adrenaline, the real power hides in what seems insignificant. Think about it. While everyone seeks immediate impact, the people you call boring train a patience that others find unbearable. And that patience is not passive, it's a weapon. Because the one who endures silence, who tolerates repetition, becomes someone impossible to break. You depend on change to feel alive. They turn stability into a laboratory of strength. Most people chase after stimuli like dogs chasing a ball, and in that endless pursuit, they wear themselves out. But those who seem dull, who live in routines so predictable that others yawn when hearing them, are the only ones who make it through the storm without getting lost. Do you know why? Because they don't need motivation. They don't depend on something external to push them. They've tamed boredom, embraced repetition until it became their ally, and that makes them unstoppable. The external chaos doesn't matter to them because inside them reigns an unshakable order. And here's the scariest part. While you're constantly looking for new entertainment, they're accumulating advantage. Each day they repeat the same movements. Each day they add an invisible layer to their strength. You see it as monotony, but in reality, it's construction, like a wall built brick by brick. And when you try to compete with them, you'll discover it's already too late, because they've built a fortress you cannot tear down. The unsettling part is that their victory makes no noise. There are no fireworks, no big headlines. One day you simply wake up and realize you can no longer catch up to them. And you don't understand how it happened because you were convinced you were the one moving faster. But the truth is, while you sought novelty, they built permanence. While you let yourself be dragged by impulse, they created resistance. And that, whether you admit it or not, is what defines who truly wins. So ask yourself this: how much longer will you run from silence? Because every time you avoid stillness, someone you called boring is using it to build a power you'll never have as long as you keep chasing noise. And here appears a detail almost no one dares to face: predictability. In a world where everyone runs desperately to be unpredictable, to stand out with extravagance, with the strange and the immediate, predictability has become an insult. But tell me, what is more dangerous? The chaos that changes every second, or the silent strength of someone whose routine is so steady it seems unbreakable? Predictability isn't weakness, it's solid ground. It's the map where you never get lost, the compass that always points north. And the boring ones, the same ones you despise, know that life is not won by improvising, but by learning to walk in the same direction even if no one applauds. The spectacle distracts you, but the predictable transforms you. Because behind the routine lies a psychological secret that terrifies. The human mind craves stability, and whoever masters it, whoever can withstand boredom, is capable of surviving any emotional storm. Those boring people, seemingly gray, build inner fortresses, while others get lost in a carousel of emotions that never stops. And while some look for new sensations to numb their emptiness, they endure the weight of silence until silence starts working for them. Society has trained you to confuse boredom with failure. They've told you that if your life is predictable, then it's not worth living. But that is the cruelest trap of all. Because those who truly advance are not the ones burning stages in fireworks, but the ones who accept that nothing valuable is built without passing through apparent monotony. Look at the ones you admire: artists, sages, warriors. Behind their achievements, there isn't an endless catalog of chaotic experiences, but countless hours of practice, of invisible repetitions, of discipline so harsh others would find it unbearable. The chilling part is that the more you ignore them, the more they grow. Every day you call them boring. They use it as fuel to stay under the radar, far from distraction and close to mastery. And by the time you realize it, they're already years ahead, because they didn't depend on noise, they depended on themselves. And that's the victory that hurts the most, the one that happens slowly, silently, without witnesses, until one day it becomes undeniable. Do you see it now? What you always despised as boredom was, in reality, the seed of a power you never wanted to cultivate, because you were too busy trying to entertain yourself. And the curious part is that, deep down, you know it, but you resist accepting it, because admitting that boring people are ahead means acknowledging that much of your energy has been wasted. It's not comfortable to recognize that all your obsession with accumulating experiences, with chasing every fleeting spark, has built nothing solid within you. And while you deny it, while you try to convince yourself that life is in the thrill, they keep practicing in silence, accumulating what you can't see: consistency, clarity, resilience. Imagine a muscle. If you force it with chaotic movements, without method or discipline, you'll end up tearing it. But if you train it with constant repetitions, if you endure the boredom of routine, that muscle turns into steel. The mind works the same way. Those who accept repetition, who endure tedium, forge a mind that doesn't break at the first setback. And there lies the brutal difference. While you search for the next stimulus to make you forget your fears, they train the ability to face those fears without anesthesia. Think about the psychology of habit. Every decision you make consumes energy. Every change of direction drains your reserves. But the boring ones, Those who follow the same pattern every day no longer waste strength deciding. They've designed a system where they don't ask themselves what to do, they just do it. And that apparent rigidity becomes freedom, because while you wrestle with indecision, they advance without friction. You don't notice it, but that is the real advantage. Consistency eliminates the weight of mental chaos. And here comes another detail that might shake you. Repetition is not just discipline. It's a secret language the brain understands better than anything else. When you repeat a gesture over and over, you're not only training your body, you're rewiring your mind to endure pain, frustration, failure. Each repetition is a hidden message saying, "I can withstand more than I thought." And that message, over time, becomes identity. The boring person stops being weak because they no longer define themselves by what they feel in the moment, but by what they can sustain over time. Meanwhile, you run after constant change, convinced that's where life is, but all you achieve is losing your ability to concentrate. Each new stimulus becomes a blow that scatters your attention. And what seems fun is, in reality, an invisible chain. You become addicted to the immediate, unable to endure pause. Do you see it? Today's society doesn't just celebrate novelty, it turns it into a drug. And while everyone consumes that drug, those who resist boredom become immune. Now imagine this. An entire world dominated by people who don't know how to be alone, who can't endure 5 minutes without looking at a screen, who tremble if they don't get a notification. And in the middle of that crowd, a handful of boring people who need none of it. Tell me, who do you think will be stronger when the noise goes out? Who will have control when the distractions disappear? The answer is obvious, but what's scary is admitting it. The ones you always despised as gray, without spark, without emotion, will be the ones who dominate the game. Because what looks like lack is in fact training. The stillness you fear so much, they turn into a testing ground. The repetition you call slavery, they transform into freedom. And the most disturbing thing of all is that they don't need to prove it. You won't see a boring person bragging about their discipline. On the contrary, their power grows in invisibility. And that invisibility is what makes them so hard to defeat. No one defends against what they don't see coming. You've been taught to fear routine, to confuse calm with mediocrity. But calm is the foundation on which all greatness is built. A river seems boring when it flows slowly and without shocks, but it's that patience that wears down mountains and carves out impossible canyons. Noise makes spectacle, but silence leaves eternal scars on the earth. And you? Which side do you want to be on? The one that burns for an instant and extinguishes? Or the one that transforms the landscape forever? The paradox is brutal. In an era screaming at you to change everything every second, the true rebellion lies in not changing, in standing firm while everyone else wavers. Consistency, routine, apparent monotony. They aren't chains, they're the only path to a freedom most will never know. And when you understand that, when you discover the secret isn't in seeking more stimuli, but in embracing repetition, everything starts to fall into place. Because true power doesn't lie in entertaining yourself, but in enduring the unbearable until it becomes your strength. The terrifying part is that while you keep running from boredom, boring people have already been building for years. And every day that passes, their advantage multiplies. You look ahead waiting for the next spark. They look within and discover they don't need anything else. And that discovery, whether you admit it or not, is the ultimate victory. And now we reach the point where everything twists inside you. Because maybe in this moment you realize you're not as free as you thought. Maybe you understand you've been chasing a mirage, confusing movement with progress, confusing noise with strength. And here is the final revelation. Boring people always win because they don't need to prove anything. They don't play the same game you do, and that's why they can't lose. While others waste energy trying to impress, they invest it in becoming solid, in becoming someone who, when they fall, rises the same way, with the same calm, with the same routine, with the same relentless discipline. What looks like emptiness is actually the cradle of the eternal. The boring one doesn't shine because they don't want to dazzle anyone. They want to light themselves up from within. And that inner glow is impossible to extinguish because it doesn't depend on applause, doesn't depend on attention, doesn't depend on a world that celebrates you one day and devours you the next. That glow only becomes visible when it's already too late. And now that we've made it this far, before we continue, I want to present the following to you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. Do you feel like there's something inside you that wants to awaken, but you don't know where to start? Then I invite you to transform your way of thinking, and with it, your way of living. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to get the ebook is in the first pinned comment of this video. Grab your copy now at a great price. With that said, let's continue with the video. When you realize you were surrounded by giants you never called giants because they didn't know how to entertain you. So, I'll ask you this. How many more times will you let the world's noise steal your chance to own yourself? Because the next time you look at someone boring, remember that what you see as monotony might actually be the sign you're in front of someone who has discovered a secret you still don't understand. And that secret is lethal. Strength isn't born from chaos, it's born from calm. So if you've made it this far, I want you to do something. Write in the comments the phrase, "Silence also screams," so I know you're one of the few who dared to stay until the end and endure this uncomfortable, brutal, and real journey. Subscribe, because what's coming will be even more unsettling, and believe me, you won't want to miss it. And now I'll say goodbye, but not with an ordinary farewell. I'll leave you with an image that won't leave your head. Imagine everyone running, desperate, blinded by neon lights, lost in the crowd. And in a dark corner, someone sitting still, boring, unmoving. You don't see them, you don't value them, you don't understand them. But when the lights go out and the noise dissolves, it will be them, the one you never noticed, who will remain standing. And you will remember this video.